What did the Tudors wear? The Tudors reigned from 1485 until 1603, and the fashions changed throughout the period. We will concentrate on how many of the queens and consorts, the celebrity influences of their day, contributed to that change. However, we know very little about how the ordinary Tudors would have dressed, and most of our knowledge comes largely from the portraits that were made of the royal and noble members of Tudor society. Very few original garments have survived from this time, but we will share with you some of the rare survivors that have, and they might surprise you. Did the Tudors wear underwear? So let's start from the beginning, from the underwear. These are not shown in the portraits of the time, so we have very few clues. We know that Tudor women wore a linen shift regardless of status. This could be washed and changed daily. Poor women would have worn rough hemp, while at the upper echelons the women would have worn linen or silk. A model is wearing the very chemise said to have been worn by Mary Queen of Scots. It is made of linen and looked after by the National Trust at Courton Court in Warwickshire. It is generally believed that women did not wear drawers, but would just have changed their shift every day. However, in 2012, building work at a medieval Austrian castle revealed a hidden vault beneath the 15th century floorboards, and in this time capsule were found 4 medieval bras with shoulder straps. This discovery astonished costume historians who had always declared the bra to be a 20th century invention. Secondly, the effigy of Elizabeth I is shown wearing a corset and drawers. This effigy was produced for Elizabeth's funeral to be carried through the town so that her people could see her for one last time. The effigy figure carried through the streets wore a gown that the slender queen herself could have worn, and underneath it a corset and other underpinnings. That cloth corset was believed to have been created by the Queen's tailor, William Jones, from a pattern used for bodices she wore while alive. Thirdly, another impracticality of not wearing drawers would have been during menstruation. So what did women do? It is not clear how they coped, but perhaps a clue lies in Queen Elizabeth's household accounts, where there are listings for 3 girdles of black jean silk. In Tudor times, stockings were the must-have accessory for European aristocracy, and silk was exalted for its cost and softness. Queen Elizabeth I of England was gifted her first pair of silkies in the 1560s and, after comparing them to woolen ones, immediately declared, "I like silk stockings so well because they are pleasant, fine and delicate, that henceforth I will wear no more cloth stockings." Silk was far beyond the budget of most people, and knitted woolen stockings were much more common. The stockings stopped around the knee and were tied with a ribbon. When people think of 16th century dress, the first thing that comes to mind is the corset. The corset represents a fundamental shift in the concept of clothing and tailoring. Instead of shaping clothes to the body, as had been done through the Middle Ages and Renaissance, the body began to conform to the fashionable shape of the clothing worn. There are several myths about wearing corsets, many of which spring from Victorian corsetry rather than Elizabethan. In the 16th century, the corset was not meant to draw in the waist and create an hourglass figure. Rather, it was designed to mould the torso into a cylindrical shape and to flatten and raise the bust line. There is one 16th century reference to a small waist being fashionable, but on the whole it was a fashionably flat torso shaped rather than a tiny waist that the corset was designed to achieve. Another common myth revolves around the horrible discomfort of corsets. This too stems from the tightly laced waists of the 19th century. The corset worn in Elizabethan England, when fitted and laced correctly, is quite comfortable. As the corset was hidden underneath the other layers of dress in the 16th century, finding out about it is difficult. Up to the 1520s, the raised and slightly rounded shape of the fashionable gown could be achieved by a well-fitted kirtle. A German wood carving of 1520 shows a woman wearing a gown with a definite crease and fold in the fabric under the bust. One possible method of creating this flattening is that the Tudor bodices and stomachers were stiffened with buckram, glue-stiffened canvas, to achieve the fashionable flat shape. There is a reference in a Tudor wardrobe account to buckram for stiffening bodices. Having an undergarment to take the strain of shaping the body also helps to extend the life of the outer gown. In addition, fitted and supportive undergowns worn underneath a decorative outer garments were found through Europe for the entirety of the preceding century. It is only natural that this established trend should have continued. A farthingale is one of the several structures used under women's clothing in the 16th and 17th centuries to support the skirts in the desired shape and enlarge the lower half of the body. It originated in Spain in the 15th century. Tradition holds that the Spanish farthingale arrived in England in the early 1500s, introduced by Catherine of Aragon, Henry VIII's future queen. In the description of the marriage of Catherine and Prince Arthur in 1501, her and her lady's clothing is described as: her gown was very large, both the sleeves and also the body, with many pleats. The same formed the remnant of the ladies of Spain were arrayed, and beneath her waist certain round hoops bearing out their gowns from the body after their country's manner. Catherine introduced and popularised the wearing of hoop skirts, a type of farthingale that gave dresses a wider shape, and Spanish black work lace in England. This type of embroidery and lace was done in black thread, which could be seen around the hands of portraits in the 1520s. Queen Mary Tudor had several farthingales in her wardrobe: 2 farthingales of crimson silk, edged with crimson velvet, and one of crimson cross grain, edged with crimson velvet. The French farthingale gained more popularity under Anne Boleyn's reign. Salome's farthingale with a decorative underskirt meant to be seen, and was therefore made out of an expensive brocade. In the 16th century, farthingales were mostly hidden under petticoats, kirtles and gowns, but for noble women they were still made out of luxurious and brightly coloured fabrics. The roll farthingale, known as the bum roll, was a padded roll variously covered with cotton or other bombast and sometimes wired. This roll was placed around the hips and the pleated skirt of the kirtle allowed to fall over it. A variation of this roll was used in 1580. Instead of a complete roll, a half roll, made by stuffing only part of it, was placed behind like a rudder to the body, leaving the front straight. It was called a half, demi or semicircled farthingale, the kind which Falstaff assured Mrs. Ford that she could wear gracefully. So the rich Tudors, their clothes, were they just fashion? Were they just to show off their wealth? Were they a political weapon? What do you think? Please let us know in the comments below. Please subscribe, like or click on the bell to be notified of other upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. See you soon.